And Danny Esters, Marie, very well. We had a couple, one, I didn't know the young lady, but she came in, she says, I'm seeing a lot of false information on social media.
Yes.
So she wanted to be there to give the true information, and so she got a lot of information on it.
There's even something going around saying that the election is canceled.
Have you seen that? I've got it. Oh, yeah, I've got it. So we're looking at it right now. Nicholas supposed to be posting something. We got false information. Have you seen it?
Hey,
I saw.
if you could strategically place that out to the people that are gonna vote no.
Yeah.
Come on, Bolton do that somehow, with all their technology they use.
Figure out who.
Well, we're gonna be doing, I told Nicholas, I said, we need the original email where someone received it in email. Because the email is gonna have IP addresses and headers on it where we actually trace it. Yeah, we can actually, subpoena, but it's basically election interference.
Right.
It is, it's not just First Amendment rights.
Right.
This is election interference.
Right.
I can dig
Right.
so.
Figured there was some legal.
Hey, Alex, can you hear me?
You hear us okay?
Yeah.
Really should be, this is what the American market. That's what. Yep. That's what I told I said, but for me, when the passage, I said, I've got a good easy out. You're not gonna like it. I said, I'll sell the water system in America, water in any places. I don't have to deal with it, but your water rate's gonna go up too quick, it's gonna be ready to $95 a month.
I remember seeing that as a potential letters that they wrote.
Now that we're the city, that's just the ones that say, look, they have their law. It's on our sheet, $95 for water. That's not water and trash, that's just water. So a lot of it was this morning, I said, I'm not gonna hide anything from you, we haven't done any of that to you. This is the reality. If it continues like this and I can't afford the water for what we want to need, this will happen. This will be a recommendation to the board. And guess what?
That will be good. To go private.
Doesn't have to go to a vote. It's up to the board. I told the whole group, I said, you can't call me, you can't call me, you can't call me, you can't call the council person.
Yeah.
You don't know, I think, you did for yourself, you did, so. Yeah, I had a lot of those.
Well, I'm not using that one.
Oh, I did. I've done it twice, yeah.
No, but I am.
I mean, it's getting, with the stuff that's getting pushed out, that's all false.
Yeah.
I was gonna get
Busy, man.
Yeah, good, good. We're bringing you that, Sean. That was first break. That was very problem, and I said, here's what's going on, and I think it's turning. And it don't surprise me.
Take the full 2 hours that you were on there.
I don't know, 15 minutes. It's a
A
good.
lot of questions.
I didn't even give a full presentation. It was all questions.
Wow.
Yes. All questions. You got 30 seconds.
Well,
Dr. Baxman has, asked me.
sure.
Yeah. He's going to. No,
Let's leave, yeah. We have one question.
So you can see.
Plus one, or plus one.
That's what's that's. We're not. All right.
Okay, we need an update on the budget and the,
I do.
busy.
Yes. I have a question, actually, well, does MoDOT have a policy about, lighting or bridge? No, it's not. You know, the gel.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
No. Others, but there may be an issue in our traffic department and the street district about who maintains.
We have to find
lights
that.
and change.
Yeah, well, I know there are different. Purple night? That's what this is.
And I'm. I know. And I'm. Yeah. I'm going to Illinois the week of the 29th
Yeah, yeah.
to meet with Illinois legislators and stuff. I don't want to, but guess what? I'm going. You know, so there's one person that we could talk to that. Yeah. It would.
I got Trey with me, so.
That's leisure, bud.
I mean, I could leave him, I guess, but I mean, so I'm sort of.
Get a valet.
Yeah, he was out parking a car. I told him whenever I go outside this store now, he's also gonna get the car. I'm probably done. How we treat him.
Oh, good, well.
All right, folks, it's 2:00. We'll get started. I'll call this meeting to order. I know we got some people online, but as always, we'll begin with introductions. I'm Stacy Kinder, mayor here in the city of Big Gerardo, and now the acting chair of the SEMPO Advisory Board.
Alex Mack with SEMPO staff.
Rodney Boyer, Steve Jackson, I'm voting for American House. Matt Warner, Steve Jackson.
Steve Downey, Cape County Commission.
Mark Phillips, Cape, Foreman Development, great engineer.
Joe Killian, know
Jeremy Dan, Southeast Missouri Regional Planning Commission.
Robert Foley, City Cape. Mission, City Cape.
Thanks. Folks online, want to chime in?
Online.
Great.
We have intermunicipal, Scott Emmelkamp, Michael Brandon, and Tom Caldwell.
All right, thanks you all for being here. If you hear, online folks, if you hear any cheering, it's not for us. We're at the Sportsplex here in Cape, and there's a large volleyball tournament happening just outside the door here, so. All right, folks, we have an agenda, of course, is there a motion to approve? Any discussion? All in favor then of approving the agenda, please say aye. Anyone opposed? That agenda carries. We have minutes from the June 18th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? For a second? Any discussion on the minutes? All right, all in favor then of the minutes as stated, please say aye. Four opposed. All right. Next, in communications from the chairman, I really don't have much to communicate, except excited, no one's more excited than Jeremy Tans for me to be sitting in this position. Happy to do so. We'll just move on. Are there any public comments? Alex, make sure. All right, so we'll move into our new and unfinished business. First, we have the SEMPO Region Trail Connection Center.
So we have this agenda item on here twice. The first is for the formal presentation by a consultant on Design Studios. Following that presentation, we'll be asked the board to consider a resolution approving the plan. So first, we'll begin with our guest, Emily Camp, to provide us an overview of the study.
All right, thanks, Alex. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, awesome. I do have a presentation that I've pulled together that hopefully I can share the screen here. And oh, Alex, can you, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. Can you fix that?
Yeah, try it now.
Got it. Can you see that?
Double click to enter full screen mode. There we go. You can see that.
Okay, yeah, you should be seeing the full screen with the title slide. So again, today, just wanted to take the opportunity to run you through the project that we've been working on for over a year. We're very excited to kind of be wrapping this up in terms of just how kind of successful it was in terms of the public participation and the different kind of routes that we came up with. So like I said, this is really just to give you some background and show you a little bit more information about what we came up with. So we started our first kind of kickoff meeting back in April. We spent last summer kind of doing different discovery tasks, which were kind of looking at the existing conditions and kind of driving around and biking and trying to understand what the existing kind of facilities are. And then we've had, multiple meetings with the technical planning committee, public meetings in August, public meetings in December. And I guess kind of this spring, we wrapped up a draft of the document, put it out for public comment, got some comments in, and those we'll talk about a little bit more later about how we incorporated some of the comments to, I think, make the document even better. And then today we're presenting here to the board. So just real quick, we did do an online survey last year and got a lot of good feedback, like I said, but just shows that most of the respondents were from City of Jackson, City of Cape, and unincorporated areas. Age group was typical for what we would see for a study like this, so the 40 to 69 age group. A lot of them reported that they use both trail systems in Cape and City of Jackson, and they have to drive to access those trails. And generally, the amount of mileage that they do is under 1 to 10 miles for most folks. But we also asked them about what destinations folks wanted to get to, so like the Osage Center there, the Jackson City Park, Chinook, Shawnee Park, downtown Cape are kind of the highlights. But when we asked them about their concerns, a lot of folks in that survey talked about concerns about different intersections and the fact that cars are going too fast. And we see this all the time when doing these types of studies. So, kind of focusing in on what can be done to separate the pedestrians from the vehicles is always something that needs to be done. But in particular, Kings Highway and Jackson Boulevard were identified as some potential kind of trouble spots. At the open houses, we were able to, again, get additional feedback. Like I said, in August and December last year, we had meetings both in the city of Jackson and Cape. And, at the time, we were showing them different alignments. The north alignment at that time was preferred, but it was kind of like pretty even between the north alignment and the middle alignment. And then we asked them about, what types of locations for trailheads, things like that. So attendance was pretty good, and we did get good feedback from those meetings. And like I said, we in May had a time when the draft report was out there for comment. We did get some comments, and one of those was to think about an alternative to the middle alignment, which I'll go through here in a little bit. But based on that feedback, we looked at it and evaluated and said, yeah, that's a really good idea. So we were able to kind of get that incorporated into the final report. But where we started was with a previous study that I think was done in 2018 or sometime around then, where kind of they looked at kind of the overall region and trying to make these connections. And so, from the basis of that study, we kind of went down to the next level of detail and trying to really either confirm or find different alignments that might work for this area. So when we did that in terms of looking for what's the best connection between city of Cape and city of Jackson, we kind of came up with these three alignments that we basically named north, middle, and south. And like I said, I'll go into more detail on each one of these, but each one has its own merits, and we have later in the presentation, I'll go through an evaluation matrix that we came up with for these alignments. But basically, which one is preferred, there's a lot of different factors related to that. And I'll go through those, but, it really will depend on, in terms of the priorities of what you develop in the future, really on how, the area is growing in terms of residential development, what you can do in terms of getting some grant funding, things like that. But so anyway, so we'll go through and kind of take each one. But the north alignment, kind of if you start from the south, you're kind of going along a portion of the Cape LaCroix Creek, and then kind of working your way around, trying to avoid as many kind of heavier traveled roads, and any three of these scenarios that we came up with, the biggest barrier obviously is the Highway 55. So in this case, the north alignment, you can get under the highway there at LaSalle Avenue, and that's an easy way to do it. The other two have some challenges for trying to make that crossing, but in this one we didn't have to worry about that because we were further up north. For all three alignments, we did look at kind of general statistics of what that means in terms of how long it is. In this one, it's 10 miles long. There's a lot of like 111 different parcels that this alignment is adjacent to. And the reason why we look at that is basically the more property owners that you have to kind of negotiate with, try to get easements, things like that, that becomes, somewhat of an issue. We looked at a number of, bridge crossings and general, at-grade crossings, and also we did that little kind of spiky chart at the bottom of the Google map there, shows what the different elevation profile is. So, we were looking at trying to see, what, how much percentage of slope is there along these different routes, just as a way to analyze it. But in terms of what it looks like, kind of at the southern end, there is room to kind of get underneath, in this scenario, the Cape LaCroix Road. There's actually a lot of space there, so that's one possibility in terms of that alignment. As we go up, there's that the RV park, and that was really nice to kind of see. There's some nice kind of bluffs there along the creek, which makes it kind of an attraction that we didn't realize it was there before until we started looking at these different alignment options. And then when we get up to LaSalle, a little bit more traffic, but there is a good amount of right of way in terms of what we could use for putting in an alignment. And with any of these scenarios in terms of alignments, the thought is you're not on the road. You would be in a trail that's adjacent to the road, or adjacent to the creek, or whatever we can do to make that experience better. The challenge that we faced with any three alignments is that there's not a creek that runs east-west between Cape and City of Jackson. So we had to kind of rely on the existing infrastructure as kind of our route that we would follow. But the intent would be to make it separate from the road so it is safer. And then this is an image of the LaSalle Avenue, kind of under, road going underneath the highway. You could carve out where that embankment is there and flatten it out for a trail. And that's done a lot all over the state. So that's certainly something that can be doable. So then we did pros and cons for each one. The north alignment, has, like I said, fewer steep slopes. There's portions of it along the creeks and the streams, so that's good. Crossing of I-55, like I said, is the easiest there. But this one, in terms of a con, is the longest route that we came up with. Lots of different parcels that we'd have to kind of get easements on. So that was that one. So the middle alignment, we'll go through this again. So uses mostly County Road 620. It does have a crossing of 55 at an existing road bridge there at 306, and then works its way through Jackson. So this one's a little bit shorter, 7.12 miles, fewer parcels. Has the bridge crossings that we looked at. You can see some of the elevation profile is a bit steeper here. And this is what it looks like. This is right kind of where the existing Cape LaCroix trail ends, and we would kind of pick up off of that. Along the road there on 620, it's actually a nice kind of rural area. And again, the thought would be we would be adjacent to the road, not in the road, to make it safer. But here's one of your biggest obstacles is the Highway 55 and County Road 306 crossing. We talked to MoDOT about when they might be replacing any of these bridges, and if they were going to happen anytime soon, you could talk with MoDOT about getting additional width put on that bridge for pedestrian facilities. But in this case, it's going to be 30 plus years before some of these get replaced. So that really was kind of a challenge. So the only other way to get across would be to do a separate pedestrian bridge, which can be costly. And then another, go ahead.
Is so our pedestrian crossing is not allowed then on that road, that bridge.
Say that again?
We're not allowed to put a bike lane, for example, in that existing bridge roadway. Sorry.
I wouldn't say there'd be no geometry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not with.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so it's not a possibility to use that existing.
People could ride across it, but we can't like stripe it or anything to indicate that.
Got
It's not gonna be wide enough. I think it's kind of the
Sure.
thing to make it safe where you feel like two cars can pass and have a place for
Okay, thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's a great question, because yeah, that particular bridge is very narrow, and you know, we were out there walking, you know, when we were doing our kind of looking at these different routes, and it wasn't, I mean, there's no facilities for pedestrians at all. So it's yeah, it would not be comfortable even if you striped it, because there's just not enough room. So, but good question. Okay, so let's keep moving. So the middle alignment, you know, the pros in terms it is shorter, most direct, and it does have, you know, lots of connections to the neighborhoods in Jackson. But like I said, it doesn't really offer that many connections to the Cape Girardeau neighborhoods. So let's keep going here. So like I said, based on input, there was a suggestion of you know, let's not cross the highway kind of where we were showing it on the other middle alignment, and kind of consider this middle alternative. So in this case, we would follow right up till we get to that point of the 320 crossing, and just but continue straight on 618, and then run up adjacent to Veterans Memorial Drive. And in that case, we're, you know, we could be, there's a bit of a little creek there that we could be adjacent to, which would be nice. And then get up to LaSalle, and then we can cross and get under the highway on LaSalle. So that was a suggestion. We kind of went through the different kind of analysis that we did for the other ones. And this one, in this case, if you look at the entire route, it's 7.92 miles long. It does have, you know, a few parcels to address, but the crossings are, you know, stream crossings are fewer, at grade crossings are fewer, so that's an advantage. And then I've got a couple of photos, so that's what it looks like on County Road 618. And then kind of as you're getting up to Veterans Memorial Drive, and just to the right of that image is where the creek is. So like I said, slightly shorter in terms of pros than the south alignment. More links to residential growth areas. We don't have to do the bridge over 55. And then, you know, there's we talked to folks at MoDOT, and they said there are some you know, improvements planned for 620 that would, you know, help in terms of making this alignment better. There are some steep slopes for cons, and then you know, right now LaSalle doesn't have a signalized crossing, but you know, that it seems like that would be added in the future as things developed. And then we'll go into the south alignment. You can see it kind of goes through very kind of rural areas along that. It is fairly long, about 8 miles long, has a lot of different parcels, 95, more bridge crossings, more at-grade crossings. But the environment is okay. This is one at South Hope and County Road 318. That intersection would be tough to get across because we're basically the side of the road that the alignment would be on. We'd have to cross that street, and that one has a particular limitations in sight distance there. So that's a challenge that if this is the alignment that is pursued, would have to be addressed. But once you're kind of in that area, it's actually, you know, fairly nice. You know, like I said, not many cars, but this is the crossing at 55 at Hopper Road. Again, no facilities for pedestrians, and it's pretty narrow. So, and then pros and cons. Like I said, pros, it's rural, kind of residential environment. And it does connect to the kind of areas of Cape Girardeau neighborhoods, but length, steep slopes, and the crossing of 55 is a challenge there. Like I mentioned, we did do kind of an evaluation matrix on all these alignments. Excuse me. So we came up with factors like feasibility, user experience, community input, and projected costs. And so under feasibility, we're looking at alignment length, land, what kind of land acquisition you would need to do, what kind of structures for bridges or walls, and then, if there would be maintenance considerations. The stuff in red is really came from kind of the vision and goals from the 2018 plan. So we thought we'd try to incorporate those into some of the features in the matrix. And so that's why they're different, highlighted in red. But when you kind of look at all these different alignments, this is the matrix that we came up with. So, we've got the north, we got the middle alternative, we got the middle and the south. And generally you can see the north and the two middle alternatives, are rating fairly well in terms of just the greens and the yellows. With this new middle alternative, the cost is a little bit lower because you don't have, the new pedestrian or requirement for new pedestrian bridges, things like that. So the thing that brings the north alignment higher in terms of cost is just because it's 2 miles longer than the other two. But the south, has a lot more red types of evaluations, which kind of puts it lower on the list of in terms of priorities of what you should do. Any questions about the matrix? All right, we'll keep going. So the other part of the study was kind of coming up with some typical kind of trail guidelines. So these are just some examples of kind of what we're calling the shared use path and what that the widths of it would be and how it is adjacent to the roads, and then ways to make the crossing safer, whether it's a kind of minor street crossing or a major one where you would want to have a light. And then we did some kind of high level cost estimating for this based on the length and our evaluation of how many structures that would be needed to be included in a particular alignment. So so you can see north, again, this is in kind of current dollars, and it's very, very high level, but just to kind of give a ballpark of what things might cost if any of these alignments were developed, and that would be for the whole alignment. And obviously you wouldn't be doing it all at the same time. So and there is language in the report about how to phase it, and that's kind of where you start, is just working basically in the kind of ends where the Cape LaCroix Trail ends, or any of the City of Jackson trails. If starting from there and working your way towards the middle seems to be kind of make the most sense to build on that existing infrastructure. So I encourage you to if you haven't had a chance to look at the full report, to look at it, but we appreciate the opportunity to work with SEMPO on this project. And does anybody have any questions?
So the middle alternate That includes the original middle stopping it before it crosses 55 if you're going north to the south.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so in this one, the first part of that, kind of getting up to the crossing is the same, and after you get, past LaSalle, or after, actually, basically, as you get to LaSalle, then it's continues the same route. So so that area that's dashed there is kind of what's different about the middle alternate, but it does pick up on what, the alignment that we showed for the north area too. Basically from LaSalle to the city of Jackson. That's similar to what's on the north alignment.
On this map in our packet, middle alternate is just the dashed portions. I just wanted to make sure I understood that cost was the original middle before crossing 55 and going north to the south. Thank you.
Scott?
Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I guess, Alex, let me know if you need anything else.
Watch the rest, or you can sign off.
Well, are you guys voting right now, or are you going to vote later?
It's our next agenda item.
Okay, I'll stick around for that.
No.
Okay, well, yes, the resolution is the next agenda item.
Yeah, so as terms of handouts, you do have one color handout that's stapled. This is taken from the entire draft report, which has been shared through public comment. What was taken out was what was added to, given the public comment, so the development of the alternative middle, and then the evaluation matrix and the pros and cons. To highlight that, I do have a copy of the full report here with all that in there, but I figured folks were able to. So what's before the board now is a resolution approving the SEMPO Regional Trail Connection Study. We would entertain a motion. Jeremy,
So the question here is whether we're accepting the study and move forward in other ways we can to.
yeah, so the next steps, there are no commitments. The next steps would be for each community to go out and look for opportunities to help fund and develop the project. So one example of a potential funding source is MoDOT's Transportation Alternatives Program. Both cities are eligible to participate in this program. The city has 3 active TAP grants now. Jackson has 2 active TAP grants. And one approach to getting a project of this magnitude accomplished would be to develop basis for the project. Each community could be individually building portions of it, working toward the middle. We'll have phasing recommendations within the report, depending on the alignment and on the grant funding opportunity. That may dictate which alignment is covered at which time.
Any other questions? All in favor then of adopting this resolution 2508, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That resolution carries. Thank you again for all this work.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And guys, have a good day.
Next is the metropolitan.
Right, so last week and this week, we've been meeting with stakeholders. We identified 8 different stakeholder groups. Those being aviation, bike ped, economic development, tourism, emergency management, freight, neighborhood groups, transit, and accessibility. We're meeting with 3 additional groups tomorrow. But the main thing for this item is our public open house. We'll have a public open house on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Both will be from 4 to 6 p.m. On Monday, we'll be at the Osage Center, and on Tuesday, we'll be at the Jackson Civic Center. I do have a handout as a flyer for folks. If you need electronically, please let me know. It was in your packets, but please feel free to share and distribute as you see appropriate. And then I also have an update that was provided to the planning committee from our consultants on their progress of the development. It's a 2-page staple. Says CBB on the top.
Any other points of discussion for that?
Unless there's any questions.
We move on then to the 2026 program year and transportation project. Sorry, Alex.
No, that's good. So this is really just a reminder, folks, because July is the beginning of our new fiscal year 2026. These are the projects pulled out from our UPWP, which was passed back in May, I believe. So just a reminder, we're continuing our MCP update. We've added, we're transitioning to every 2-year cycle for updating our transportation improvement program for our STIP. We have funds in there for that. Our general service agreements that we signed back in 2020 are set to expire, so we're going to re-up those. There's no budget item for that. There's just an RFP for potential future services. We also have $90,000 for transit system planning. That'll be working with Jim Smith at the CTA on developing. And we have $100,000 for our multimodal freight plan, which the Regional Planning Commission is going to assist us in program administration for contract administration. Any questions on our upcoming fiscal year and the projects? Okay. All right.
Move on to member reports. Trevor, you're just in time.
Just hold
City.
it that quick. We're still working on our projects from our last one. Lexington and Perryville should be finished in August. Lexington Perryville intersection should be open in a week, dry weather. South Spring, we should be done by the end of the year. We're still working on the construction of the street right now. We've got on the street there, the city. The baseball and fields are underway, but we're just all the way doing that now. That's moving forward. We've spent a lot of research on all areas and the driving kids know we each area. The biggest thing in the city of Cape right now is our water initiative. We have an election April 5th. Regarding our water, all I have, man.
City of Jackson.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Our East Main Street sidewalk project, the contract was awarded to Lobby Cement Commission for about $500,000. We had a pre-construction conference on June 25th with Baker Farm Workman, who's our engineer. Contract's been forwarded to MoDOT Jackson Project Office for review and issuance of the notice to proceed. Construction should begin later this month. The Sunset Hills Bridge replacement project, that's a borough. Contract awarded the Quince construction for just over $400,000, and construction is underway on that. It began June 17th. The roundabout project at Deerwood and Highway 61, that's MoDOT cost share. Plan specs and estimates been approved by MoDOT. We're currently coordinating setting up midday with Lockwood, who's our consultant engineer.
The Jackson Middle School crosswalk and sidewalk project, that's a TAP. Design in progress by SEMPO company engineers. We expect to receive preliminary design for review by mid-July. East Jackson Boulevard roadway lighting project, that's a MoDOT cost share. MoDOT's environmental contractors completed an effects determination review. Plan specs, bid documents are substantially complete by Strickland Engineering and almost ready to bid. We do want to, let that in August and award construction in October. Oak Creek Recreation Trail Phase 3, that's between the high school and the soccer park. We submitted a TAP application to MoDOT on June 13th. MoDOT, or a portion of the project involved MoDOT right away. We need an underpass under, West Jackson Boulevard in the high school. Those, takes to an Oak Creek Trail, south of the soccer park. And we received, MoDOT Southeast District letter of consent on July 8th. Our country street improvement program bid were open July 8th, lobby cement fishing was the lowest of 4 bids at $348,000. Work will start this month. Safe Across Pedestrian Safety Program. We've got 6 locations now for our Mr. Walker flat statutes. Those are compliant signs and statutes posted at the crosswalks that we're hoping to get raise awareness for safe pedestrians. 2025 asphalt street improvement program, we determine locations through our street department for those repairs, and Stacy staff working on the bid documents now. And last but not least, our fire station #1 renovations project is nearing completion, and we've also open that new building back up to the public. So the final completion date on that is August 4th, and I'm sure there'll be a open house on that. Thank you.
Scott City. Kate County.
Bridge on 501, the rails are on, the weather's been a little problematic to finish the approaches to that bridge, but it's getting very close. That's a growth project. We issued the bid on the bridge on County Road 401 across the South Creek, to Penn Construction for $199,000 change. So hopefully I can get rolling on that. County Road 226-27, that intersection. And the widening and grading on that project, we issued the bid to that to Elmo Buckeye. So hopefully they'll be able to get started on that. Jail, again, moving closer to completion. We're running some trial runs in there, checking that equipment, making sure that all that stuff's gonna operate before we're giving, prisoners over, but that's kind of important. You guys don't want them escaping. But hopefully we'll be able to start utilizing that facility sometime in August is kind of the plan. That's kind of major updates, I suppose.
Thanks. That's right.
We're still waiting, weather's kind of delayed our asphalt overlay too, we are under contract with Pace Construction. They're supposed to start Friday for this week. We got a bridge project under contract with SEMPO, and they have started mobilizing, but I have not yet. And it's at the intersection of County Road 635 and 637, anticipate probably with the start. Other than that, we can.
Airport.
We got our tax result of the construction projects in phase 1, they started up a couple weeks ago. That's slated to go on until October, so hopefully weather permitting, they'll stay on track. FAA is starting a modular project, which is the approach lighting into runway 10. That starts on the 22nd, so the modules will be shut down for 30 days. Now they're saying that's not the most ecologically approach or minimum, so That's one of their projects, we just kind of have to babysit them and bring them back and forth. And then, our old hangar has been demoed, and it's all ready to get, it's on the little parks right now.
We have our tax harmonization meeting next Tuesday, it's immediately following our board meeting at 1 o'clock. The board meeting at 1, and that begins, and we start our tax meeting around.
Corbin here with MoDOT area engineer. We have some work still going on the Emerson Bridge until the end of next year. Where we'll be switching lanes at the end of this year. Route Y, we should have that open by the 25th of July. Route 72 through Jackson, we had the contractor starting back in August. As for the 72, 61, 25 junction, we could have work beginning on the concrete at the approach as soon as 10 days from now, which would be 17/24. The contractor is currently at the airport working, as far as I understand, and we'll then proceed to that intersection. Through Cape Girardeau, we have the drainage project on Route K. This is with Butch Construction. They've already begun. This job involves digging ditches for better drainage. Some of the entrances along Kings Highway, we're going to have to temporarily close, replace the pipes. The businesses are being alerted as this continues. The main one folks are probably interested in is the Bloomfield Road Bridge update. 3 weeks ago, we did do a set of deck repairs, followed by a chip seal. This is not a permanent fix for that location. This is just to open it back up until we can get a more permanent solution in place. We are currently putting plans together to add the additional repairs to a larger contract. This could begin later this year or early next year. There's a couple candidate jobs that we're looking at combining that fix with. Currently, the bridge is too fair or too good of a condition to replace. As it continues to deteriorate, we'll be eventually on that list. But we're looking at maybe 10, 15 bridges per county that are in better condition or in a worse condition than the Cape Bloomfield Road Bridge. So our current projections for when the bridge replacement might occur is in the 2030s for the location. Any acceleration of that would require some sort of cost share program. Joe, any questions before I come?
July the 9th, the Highway Commission approved the new, state fiscal year 27 through 31 STIP. So that is, 26 through 30 STIP. We are beginning the high priority unfunded needs program, or we're in the middle of that cycle. We had that public meeting, will be August the 28th at Ozark Foothills Regional Planning Commission in Poplar Bluff. That meeting will be from 4 to 6 p.m. We are in the middle, or just getting started good with the asset management plan, which is the work that we do every year to go through and evaluate all the pavements and bridges, and basically select what work we want to include with the next STIP, which would be the 27th to 31 STIP. And Trey, I think we introduced Trey at the last board meeting. Trey Scott is our current intern, but pleased to announce that he is tentatively accepted the position to work with us full time once he graduates next year. He'll be working as our payment specialist. So probably not everybody that, has a full-time job already set up before they, start their senior year, but he's pretty awesome like that. I think Matt had asked last time when we were planning to get our new DP announced, and rumors are swirling about. You might look on Facebook and see where somebody has made some comments. But we still don't have official word internally. Given what we've seen in the last couple of days from people making comments on Facebook, I would expect that to be in the next couple of weeks.
And, so we'll have a new DP and new leadership in place by then, so.
What did they say on Facebook?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, because it's, most of it is just completely fabricated, I didn't go look it up myself, I saw a screenshot, but basically, that, Donnie Brown, who is the state legislator, for New Hampshire County, the state representative, has indicated that he was leaving the department after 30 years, and he's had a good run there, and again, what can you read out of that? He didn't say he was taking a job with MoDOT, but he was one of the 3 candidates that did interview for the job. So either he's decided to step into the legislative role full-time, or he is, preparing to take on some other responsibilities. So, I think that's all I have, right? Anything you want to add there?
I got one more thing.
Go ahead.
So the mowing through Cape Girardeau, I crossed the mowers today, they're on trying to get out towards Bloomfield Bridge today. They've been saying that one of the issues with getting up on the steep slopes is that when it rains once or twice a week, that moisture makes it so that the steep slopes flood running and do damage to the slopes. So that's one of the reasons they haven't hit those as hard. So,
Really steep.
yes, and I have reached out, I've explained this to our leadership as well. There is concern from the city of Cape for last month about the mowing within the city right away, so they are aware.
I would say, even if somebody could just get out and read here, and just do it, you know, so it comes time. That might,
I was going
might
to,
be the downfalls.
I went to Charleston yesterday and some of the weeds and grass were higher than my.
Yeah, it's been a lot of rain.
Goats for real steep embankments. Goats? Yeah. This part of our, organization is innovation, so I'm welcome aboard, bud.
But Alston, they do that, it's down by the river.
Yeah.
There's a thing over there. That would be part of our green initiative.
Yeah. It's take a lot of fun.
I mean, they can climb anything too. It's an easy one. I think it's a great idea. Thanks, Corbin.
Yes.
IDOT?
No report.
Thank you. And Federal Highway?
This is Cecily here. I sent an email around to Alex and it is involving a upcoming virtual registration for our freight management and operations. There's a practice for peer exchange going on. And what it's going to do is it's going to talk to all of our NPOs, state agencies, and research institutions on how to launch freight research and practices. It is going to be held August 20th through the 21st. It is completely free and virtual. If I need to resend the link, Alex, please let me know. But we would hope that you guys would register and attend. It's going to be a great resource item. And then also one other thing, your district engineer may already have seen it come around. I'm sure John Miller from our office has been in contact. We are gathering safety information of a list of high priority arterials that are coming in from all of the NPO areas, particularly so that we can prioritize them for safety and operation. We're supposed to have that information by the conclusion of the federal fiscal year, but if you see any, I guess, contact or emails from our office, it's just gathering data. Please don't be alarmed.
Thank you very much.
Nothing further to report.
Any other business or comments? Very good. All in German? Say aye. Thank you all. You want to mention it?
Yeah.
Pretty large.
Yeah, at all three, I think we just. Thank you.
I have done this, task for greater, like, when we work. He said if you want it. That's all we're sharing. I'm gonna go down on the track.
She did.
Very, very nice. Like, you don't really know. But. Like, oh, I said, he's like, hey. It'd be like.